purpose of this video is to show you how the linkage, the shifter, and the transmission all relate in an Audi 6-speed transmission. This is out of a B5 S4, but all 6-speed cars are very similar. Note, the 5-speed cars are different. This linkage piece is in a different location and it's set up differently. But the purpose is just so you can see how this actually all works. First part I'm going to show you is involving one of our upgrades. This is the shifter stabilizer rod. This is what links the shifter and holds it in line with the transmission when your transmission and engine is moving around. The original bushing looks like this. Got a rubber outer cage and an Allen inside. And we replaced this with our Delrin unit, so it's not moving around at all compared to this. This is, as you can see, on top of the transmission. So for those of you who want to install this on your car, now you have a better idea of what you're looking at doing. You just got to get from underneath. Sometimes you have to drop the downpipe out. Just depends. If you have aftermarket downpipes, you probably don't have to. But you got to lower the cradle in order to get to this. So that's the stabilizer bushing upgrade, currently available. And then we have the actual shift rod itself. This is the rod that hooks to the end of the shifter. This one right here is not upgraded with our unit. We still are in progress of that. So by the time this video comes out, it may be released. But this, from the factory, if you look inside of here, I don't know if you can see it that well, it's a rubber and plastic cage around a steel ball. We replaced this one on this car because a lot of times they get movement up and down. This one's really tight. So anytime you have your transmission out, look at this, and a lot of times you'll have an up and down movement in this ball. So at least change it with an OEM one from the dealer. They're about $38, $40. I know you can get them cheaper elsewhere. But we are working on a steel one for all the 6-speed cars. Should be released by the time this video comes out once again. Okay, so we go back over to the shifter, and you can see where this one rod that links to this is the shifter stabilizer rod where it hooks to the actual shifter itself, and then the shift rod, hooks down inside of here. And you can see how it moves around. Here's that socket assembly I spoke about earlier. That's what this steel ball goes into. This one was worn, we replaced it. So what it allowed is the linkage to go up and down a little bit, which gives you a little more slop at the shifter. So like I said, I'd always replace these every time your transmission is out. They're 40 bucks from the dealership. They call it a repair kit. Another thing is on this metal piece, I don't have this out right now, but there is a little, like a flat piece of steel inside of this part that clocks it and lines it up and locks it in place. Make sure that little shim in there is existing. A lot of people have that fall out and then they have a problem with their linkage when they're done. So make sure the shim is in here, make sure this is tight. If not, just replace this. And like I said, I will have an all steel unit coming out soon. Here's that little metal spacer I was talking about. That's what locks this in place with here. If you look, this is notched out. It's got a flat spot. So that matches up with this piece right here. So these have to match up. I've seen cars where these have fallen out when somebody else has serviced them and they just bolt it together. And you're going to have problems. Your tranny's never going to hold adjustments and you're going to run into major shifting problems. So always make sure this is still there. Or if you're having weird shifting problems, you might want to check this out. You got to undo that nut down here and pull this out, but always make sure that's there. You can get one of these new from the dealer. I think they get about 80 bucks for them. I'm working on getting a line on getting more of them, so I'll have them. But make sure that's there. That's it. Another part of the linkage we were considering upgrading was this cross rod that stabilizes the shift rod. We did build another one with spherical rod ends and all this and that, but this required flex, so we actually found no gain by upgrading this. Generally, just make sure this bushing down here is pretty tight. And this ball right here, as you can see, there's no play in it. It is plastic, but this really doesn't hold much weight at all. We actually did, like I said, we built a nice expensive piece and didn't really seem to help at all. So we did not do that, but we are working on that steel bearing setup. Now I'm going to show you how these cars are shifted. Keep note, this box is going to move around on me. This box bolts to the car, so this normally won't move around. So we go like this: first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth, sixth, reverse. Normally, like I said, this box will be in the car, this won't be moving around. I'm trying pretty hard to hold this steady, but at least you can get the idea of how this all works. Now we're going to show you up close what it looks like here as I'm shifting the gears, and I'll call them out. That's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then reverse. So that's how the 6-speed Audi transmission works.